Hey, I think we're live.
We are live. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, hello to everybody in the chat. Hello, Mr. Shadow Kitty and Godless Scummer, Jeff. Hey, and Amiga Nuts. It's good to see all of you so much. It is so good to see all of. Oh wow, that sentence is not salvageable. Never mind. Never mind. Strike that. Anyway, edit that out later from our live stream.
Yeah.
We realized recently that we curse and smoke and drink a lot. Well, I mean, we didn't realize that these were things that we do. We just realized they're things that we do on our streams, and that we should probably, even though we've been checking that box like not for children on YouTube, we should probably just go ahead and say this is not for children. None of you that I can see who are active in the chat right now are children. I've seen your faces, well, except for Amiga, but as far as I know, none of you are children. But if you're a child and you're listening to this in the future, or you're listening to this right now, unless you have a parent or guardian with you, I need to ask you to go ahead and get the fuck out, because the words like that are going to happen. Things like this are going to happen. Oh, should have tested on that. Yeah.
Cheers.
And adult content, not XXX content, but adult content will be discussed. So again, if you're a kid watching this, if you're under 18 and you're not watching it with a parent or guardian, you need to get the fuck out, darling. Sorry, not trying to be mean. Okay, done. Disclaimer: ass is covered. All right. So, you wanna talk the hashtag in the back real fast?
All right. Well, those of you who were with us during my live stream yesterday have already heard a little about this. I'm going to do a quick recap for anyone who has not or who's watching this in the future. Mubarak Bala is a official with the IAA, the International Association of Atheists. He is a longtime humanist and atheist activist in Nigeria. He is currently, as far as we know, under arrest in Kano province in Nigeria, which is a province that operates under strict Shia law.
Sharia law? I'm sorry, is it Sharia law or Shia law?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know.
Okay.
It's not important. Whichever one the strict one is, that's the one.
The strict one that will kill you for things like apostasy.
Yeah, for things like anything. He was arrested under charges of blasphemy against Muhammad for something that he wrote on Facebook. And they arrested him in a more lenient province and specifically moved him and his case to Kano province in order to try him under the stricter law, Sharia law. You're right.
Oh,
sorry.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
And thank you, Jeff. And since then, no one has seen him nor heard from him.
No.
He has a lawyer, but that lawyer has not been able to get in contact with him. There is a current movement on Twitter just trying to raise international awareness and awareness within Nigeria to let them know that we're watching. Mm-hmm. If you can, tweet out this hashtag, Free Mubarak Bala. If you can, tag where you are, and tag the Nigerian police force, the Nigerian president, and there's one other that we're supposed to be tagging as well.
Yeah.
She and I both did it the other night. If you check back on our Twitter profiles a little, you'll be able to drag up the third, or it may at this point be on IAA's website. You can also go to IAA's website and donate towards a legal fund. Last I heard, we were sitting at about $6,500 donated of an $8,000 goal. And it's every little bit helps kind of situation. People are donating $1, $5, whatever they can. He's one of us. He's in big trouble, and we haven't seen him in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I do also...
in a Sharia prison.
Yeah, I want to really quickly just reiterate. You said it, but I'm just going to say it again. He was arrested for something that was not illegal in the province he was in when he did it. So it would be kind of like the equivalent of you don't live in a dry county, but a sheriff from a dry county comes to your house and arrests you for buying alcohol in the county where you live. It would be like that. It makes I accept the stakes are so much higher, but it just makes like no sense. Like, we live in the United States, different states have different state laws. Nigeria is similar in the different provinces have different laws. And so I think that's an important note. I don't think it should ever be legal to kill anyone for blasphemy for just saying something. Again, that's insane. But he didn't even break the law where he lived. So it's beyond nutty, and it's an absolute human rights violation. Okay. So moving on. We were talking about a quote from Christopher Hitchens that I totally intended to look up, and then I got caught up in Shannon Q's video and forgot to look it up.
I didn't think to look at it in its entirety also.
And we are gonna...
There's an outside possibility. I may be able to scramble it up real quick online. We are glitching out like nobody's business.
Already
hooray.
We just started. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what to tell you. We pay for this internet. Yep. Oh gosh, looks like...
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hey guys. Giggling at people talking about something completely different. Like, hit on this quote from the late great Christopher Hitchens.
Here we go.
Ooh, hey.
Hitchens' quote is, "I'm perfectly happy for people to have these toys and to play with them at home and hug them to themselves and so on, and to share them with other people who come around and play with the toys. So that's absolutely fine. They are not to make me play with these toys. I will not play with the toys. Don't bring the toys to my house. Don't say my children must play with these toys. Don't say my toys might be a condom," here we go again, "are not allowed by their toys. I'm not going to have any of that."
Agreed. Well, so I said I completely agree with that. And of course, toys here is a metaphor for religion, right? Any religious belief, any superstitious belief, any belief in anything beyond, what we can see and observe and prove to exist.
Any of that woo-woo shit.
Any of the woo shit. Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, no, I completely agree with that, because I've got a lot of very religious family members. And while we are out atheists to all but the oldest people in our family, and that's simply because they're old, they have heart conditions, and it would stress them the fuck out. They would genuinely spend the last years of their lives trying to reconvert us to save us from eternal damnation. And why? I'm not going to do that to my mom, okay? She doesn't know about this channel. Nobody's going to tell her about it. My siblings know, my nieces and nephews know, that's fine. But no reason for that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I get that. That's fine. Like, God, I just love to go to one family event where where you and I didn't stand there while everybody prayed 3 times. I get the blessing before the meal, fine. But then there's always like something else and then something else. And it's just, it's not even the old school Catholic blessing I was raised with, which is pretty short to the point and sweet. Right? I mean, pretty sure I could still recite it if I had to, unfortunately, because that programming is really hard to get out. But it's just, you do it, and it's, "Bless us, O Lord, for these gifts which we are bound to receive, for thy bounty, through Christ our Lord, amen." That's it. That's the prayer. And everybody does it as fast. They say it as fast as they want to, depending on how hungry they are. So we can all rattle it off like that fast. Well, since my siblings became Baptist and evangelical Christians among them, they've started doing this new thing where they just like talk at God And oh fuck, it can go on forever. And they're not trying to be jerks about it. It's just it's the new way that they pray, but it's so weird.
It's a very Protestant way to pray.
Yeah, and I mean it's fine, and they're real cool. Like one thing that a lot of us atheists bitch about that my brother does not do is that you're thanking your invisible sky daddy for the food and not the person who made it. And one thing that my brother does is he always thanks the people by name who made the food, whoever it was, his wife, me, my mom, whoever it is, he thanks us all in the prayer, which is nice. But it's also, God, it's so long and obnoxious. So those are the only times when I feel like I'm kind forced by culture and by family ties, and also by trying not have a fight at every holiday, to just sort of stand there and take it silently. And then the rest of the time, it really doesn't affect our relationships all that much. Every once in a while, I'll say something and then somebody will get offended because they're like, "Excuse me, I was made in the image of God, and I absolutely am not just a random occurrence of blah blah blah." And it's like, oh fuck, look, I wasn't trying to piss you off.
Stepped in it again.
Jesus Christ, I was just quoting a lyric from a Dimension song. Calm the fuck down, But what are you gonna do, right? So god damn it, it's everywhere. So my position, that was my position, because I have to deal with this so much because our family is just way the fuck all up in our lives, and I'm grateful for that, but also it's a little much sometimes. Which is one reason why we live 30 and 40 minutes away from the main other homesteads here, which is great because they don't come out to our wee apartment in the middle of the big scary city. They stay out in the county, which is fantastic. So anyway, I said I agree with that. And then you said, and this was interesting because we don't always disagree on this shit, so it was fun.
In fact, we rarely disagree on this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you looked a little shocked, honestly, when
I
said what I said.
I was shocked.
Because what I said was, I disagree. And then what she said was, do we have a topic for Thursday?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
So we've both been sitting in this was Tuesday night that this conversation happened. So we've had 48 hours to let our ideas and our perspectives percolate in our brains. And this is, y'all are here to see the first opening up of that particular little mental box.
Yes. And we have not discussed it.
We have not.
Because we were deliberately. Because the second we realized that we had something that we disagreed on, I was like, okay, stop, because you're really fucking persuasive. And if we talk about this for 5 minutes and I find that I agree with you after that, then we're not gonna have a show. So we stopped. And I'm like, I kind of do. It's weird. I kind of want to be persuaded that you disagree, but then at the same time, again, so many people we know and love. I mean, like, for example, I have several. I'm lucky to have several Jewish friends, and some are more religious than others. I don't discuss the fact that I am completely against circumcision with my Jewish friends, because it's just too fucking awkward. It's too awkward. It's too weird. They didn't have a choice in it. Why even bring it up? I brought it up like once, and it just felt weird and awkward, and I didn't bring it up again. So I feel kind of bad for that, because I think it is an important issue, and I think it's absolutely. But I will talk to any Christian about circumcision, especially anybody who is about to have a child with male sex organs. I will absolutely discuss it. And we don't even have to go to the other one, because it's right up. How does that work then? Like if you just let you do thing, and sometimes it's a fun too. He had a long good life, and we sat with them, and we let him and his brother say the Kaddish several times, because we were just there, and that's a prayer they say nightly for so many days after for someone who's passed away, and it was just fascinating to hear Hebrew spoken in front of me because I wasn't raised around any Jewish kids, so I'd never heard it before. It was cool. But okay, so why do you disagree? I'm sorry, I've overshared and overtalked.
Right. First of all, I'm not going to touch Judaism.
Okay,
I don't know enough about it to have a firm opinion on it. In my stream the other day, I stated that while I really don't like getting bogged down in the atheist, agnostic, soft atheist, hard atheist, is there any such thing as an atheist? Is a agnostic just a wimpy way to be an atheist? I don't get bogged down in any of that.
I have a facial expression right now, but I'm not going to say it in words because I agree. Ultimately, it's stupid. It gets to a silly place. Go ahead.
I don't get bogged down in that. What I do identify as, if backed into a corner and made to identify my religious position solely mine explicitly, is I am an anti-Christian.
Ooh. See, I didn't really know that about you.
I want that religion to die.
Mm.
I want to be around when it dies. I want it to die in my lifetime, and I want to piss on its desecrated ashes.
On its smoldering ashes. You know what? Let's keep the beautiful historical buildings and turn them into museums and fuck the rest of it. Just throw out all the horrible bad shit. That'd be great. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. This is your time.
Okay. Because I am not happy for them to play with their toys in their house. They are not to make me play with their toys. They are not to make other people's children play with their toys. And by playing with their toys in their house and making their children play with those toys in their house, they are committing active, long-lasting harm. They are damaging themselves and those for whom they are responsible. They are committing active, long-term child abuse.
Well, fuck, I can't argue with that.
Christianity is a wretched, despicable, Bronze Age pile of nonsensical crap, and it needs to die. It needed to die 1,000 years ago when it went berserk and started massacring half the world. It certainly has no place in the 21st century. Doctrine of original sin is as toxic and as damaging as it comes. Purity culture is as toxic and damaging as it comes. Christianity, as modernly practiced, is a spectacularly woven constellation of some of the worst, most short-sighted, most barbaric, most damaging practices, thought patterns, and accusations of thought crime currently in existence. Islam may be more actively violent right now, but that was not always the case. Christianity, for my money, is the most psychologically toxic and dangerous philosophy in practice today. And each new generation that grows up in it is a new generation of guaranteed income for psychiatrists, psychotherapists, and analysts.
Yeah, I gotta say that's where a lot of my issues started. I mean, a lot of it could be genetic too, but
me.
That's you. Okay, cool.
Hitchens was wrong. It is not okay for them to play with their toys. They have given their children a little pile of razor wire and turpentine rags and a box of matches and said, "Here are your toys. It is your fault if anything bad happens," and walked they happy ass right out the room.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is hard to argue with. Those were really excellent points you made. Ask any ex-Muslim or current Muslim about the Crusades, and oh yeah, or the Spanish Inquisition, or The show of the Holocaust, because Hitler was a Roman Catholic. A lot of people like to throw him our way. No, he was not one of us. Not at all. Hardcore Roman Catholic. I had to read part of Mein Kampf for a class in college, and it was so. Oh, shit. I've never wanted to throw a textbook across a room so badly in my life. I was so grateful we didn't have to read the whole fucking. It was sickening. It was sickening. It was like, yeah, it was.
Less Nazis.
And maybe less Nazis. Okay, so I'll stop with the Nazis. I'm sorry. There are certain parts of history that I've been fixated on my entire life, so I tend to go there. Okay, so
Mr. Shadow Kitty says he refers to himself as a humanist.
that's nice. Yeah.
That's what I categorized myself as for a long time. And I think my overriding philosophy is still one grounded in humanism. But as I get more and more invested in my little one-man crusade, it is one against Christianity, which I view as harmful both in theory and in practice. And while humanism is a way, Mr. Richardson, welcome. And while humanism is an excellent philosophy for relating to other people and for living one's life, I see that more as my Christian.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And I can not just because what's happened, hiatus tonight or whatever your thing was, or Saturday, that had nothing to do with you getting your kids vaccinated or believing in science. Some people were anti-evolution, that's true. And I did grow up in the time during the Teach the Controversy, where there was in my middle school biology book, there was a warning label that said evolution is just a theory, because they don't know what the word theory means when you're talking about scientific theory. So, I did grow up with some of that. But at the same time, I also grew up with parents who were old enough to remember, the time before the polio vaccine, and who both had either lost friends to polio, or knew people, or had people in their family, their extended family, or grew up with people who were permanently crippled from polio, for example. So all about the medical science. Like I don't get Christian Scientists at all. I think that's one of the most harmful things. I think the Jehovah's Witness thing against getting blood transfusions. Absolutely. I had a regular at Bookstore. This is I shouldn't have said that. This is where we met. We worked at a bookstore. Mm-hmm. And I had a regular who, when every time she opened her wallet to pay, it said no blood. She had her no blood card right there. I knew from that she was a Jehovah's Witness, and it just broke my heart every time I saw her, because I was like, well, I hope you never need one, because you're gonna fucking die if you go by that. So yeah, it's absolutely, that part is horrible. You all know what the Catholic Church has been trying and failing to hide for forever. And the thing is, we all knew too. I mean, we knew in the 80s that sexual abuse was happening, that children were being raped. We knew that was happening. We just didn't know, or at least in my neck of the woods and our family, we didn't know to what extent. We knew they moved priests around who were predatory. And I remember my parents having heated discussions together. Like, they weren't fighting about this. They were just so upset that this was happening. And they felt like there was nothing they could do. But they also didn't stop raising us Catholic, and they didn't stop going to church. So, I mean, we are so many people. I say we, it's not we anymore, but so many people are funding these massive institutions that aren't taxed, that aren't held accountable for their money. We don't even know how much the Mormon church has. And that place, that religion is so controlling and so toxic. It's to the point where I've heard people who live in Utah or Salt Lake City, Utah specifically, or anywhere else that has a large Mormon population, where they say not attending church and not tithing is social suicide. That's how they describe it. And they have support groups for Mormons who have left the church or ex-Mormons, so that they can meet somebody else who's left, because there's so much pressure to stay in. And it's vile. And one of the more, I think, vile doctrines about that particular one is that if you're not up on your tithes, you can't have your temple rights or whatever. You can't you can't get married in the temple, and then also you can't, you can't the stuff with the garments and stuff, you can't do that. And so this affects what level of heaven you might get into. They basically hold you hostage by what they think the afterlife is. It's really fucking weird. But all levels of Christianity do that. And then you get the true believers and the science deniers now, and it's a whole new level of crazy. Like my parents look at some of their own grandchildren and go, I don't understand how they think the earth is 6,000 years old. I don't get it. And I'm like, yeah, me neither, Mom. Like, me neither, Dad. I love you. I don't get it either. And they're like, we're so lucky you don't think like that. And I was like, well, I wasn't raised evangelical Christian. Now was I? Like, that much I can say out loud. But it is so freaking disturbing. It's beyond the pale. And the way it stunted the intellectual growth of some of my family members, and one of these days I'm gonna have to stop talking about my fucking family on here, because that's not good. They're lovely people. I love them very, very much. If I didn't love them, I wouldn't care. But I see that happening. It's influencing policy in this country. Christian dominionism is definitely a thing now, and that is absolutely antithetical to our Constitution. We're supposed to be a secular nation. We're not supposed to be making windows into men's souls to, I think, quote Elizabeth I. That might be wrong. But she was talking about, hey, just, do the state religion thing. But if you're Catholic in secret, I'll try not to. But then, whatever, stuff happened. People got killed. Anyway. Yeah. So, I can see I can get with you on the anti-Christian thing. I almost don't feel, and this might be a holdover from becoming a young adult in the 90s. I almost feel like I don't have the right necessarily to say, except for the glaringly obvious, to say too many bad things about other cultures and other religions and other cultures. Because I it's sort of like I can talk about my people all day and be like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not saying they're stupid though. I am shocked by the amount of cognitive dissonance they must have to use and navigate. And also, like, I mean, when people say Christians are stupid, that's a stupid thing to say. Stop doing it. Don't do that. It's dumb. There are Christians that are so much smarter than I am, and they're doing these mental acrobatics in their head just to live in reality and maintain their religious beliefs. And let's also, as Seth Andrews likes to say, let's remind everybody that these people are the victims of bad ideas. They were indoctrinated too. Just like they then indoctrinate their children. And they do it because they think they're doing right by them. And that might be the sickest part.
Yeah.
And I agree with you there. That is the sickest, the most insidious part of Christianity. So, Buddhist, a friend who doesn't believe in it. I have no beef. Good to see you, doll. Love you. Anyway, Yeah, so I don't have a lot of beef with the neo-pagan community, especially neo-pagans like Ocean Keltoy and ones that I know whose names I'm not going to say because I don't have the permission. We were married by a neo-pagan priest. Our premarital counseling was done by him and his wife, who are both like certified clergy in the state of Tennessee. It was kind of amazing. And they asked us how we felt. I was still a polytheist at the time, and they asked us how we felt about the God thing and bringing it into the service. And I looked over at Junk Shop and just said, let's leave God out of it. It's not necessary, because I was barely practicing at that point. I had an altar set up in the bedroom, but I didn't really do shit with it. And I realize now I was very much coming out of it. I just hadn't really thought about it, and then thought about it for 2 days and was like, I think I'm an atheist now. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, was Christopher Hitchens wrong when he said you can play with your toys, you can hold them close to you, you can have them in your own home, but do not try to make me play with them, bring them to my home, or make my children play with them. I think society-wise, in terms of the freedom clause, the freedom of practice of religion clause in the Constitution, I don't see how we could or if we should get around that.
Oh, I'm not saying that it should be eliminated by act of Congress.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it is so dangerous, so toxic, and so damaging that it really, really, really needs to die. I don't have any illusion that it's going to die anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
It may never die. But I think we as a species would be better off with Christianity far in our rearview mirror.
I agree. And again, I agree largely because of how it is now interfering with science and creeping into our laws, and how there's
creeping.
Well,
that motherfucker stampeding into our houses of government.
I mean, RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, had to say from a hospital, you can look this up, she had to say from a hospital bed, she's recently having her gallbladder out because she has gallstones. Hey, RBG, I had to have that surgery too. It don't lie on your right side afterwards. Don't accidentally roll over. It'll hurt like a bitch. Anyway, but the point is, she had to say, talk to a judge recently talk to a lawyer recently, because they were basically trying to make access had to do with the Affordable Health Care Act, which they're constantly trying to gut anyway, but they wanted to make birth control not accessible or free, or in the Health Care Act.
Yeah.
They basically want to make that like plastic surgery or something. Oh my God. Do you know how many lives will ruin? That, including mine. It would ruin mine. Well, if I was still on hormone, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, it could ruin a lot of lives, and it's going to hurt a lot of women. And if this happens, and she was able to shoot down the other lawyer's remarks very well, even from her freaking hospital bed, because she just rocks. She's amazing. And I don't know what we're going to do when she's gone. I'm really hoping we got to vote out Trump before RBG dies, y'all. We have to do it. It has to happen. Poor thing, she's never going to get to retire as it is, but we got to do what we can. Okay, sorry, I derailed this on a tangent.
That's
all right. So, can you have your toys? Well, yeah, I think again, I'm going to go into somebody else's house and tell them you can't worship your gods. I can't see myself doing that. I can see myself criticizing certain practices of a religion, which I've had talks with family members about certain things, and with close friends about certain things that I did not agree with, so I have had the circumcision talk with people, with Christians, that I felt I was able to and we didn't fight. We just had a talk. I actually convinced one person to no longer be a young Earth creationist with one rhetorical question once. That was pretty cool. I said, to a being who has always existed and will always exist, how long is a day? And she went, oh. And I was like, could be maybe roughly 4 billion years. And she was like, I had not thought of it that way. And I was like, there you go. And that was it. That was all it took. She's still creationist, but she's an old Earth creationist. And that was before she had a kid. Right? So I managed to get her into a slightly more reasonable position before she could push some really batshit ideas onto a kid without realizing how batshit they were. Because she thought she was just being a good Christian by believing in a young Earth. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. Your book doesn't even define it like that way.
I don't take as much issue, honestly, with some of the weird science dogmas.
Oh, yeah?
Because those you can later be educated out of. Information is out there, and if you are exposed to it and are willing to obtain new information, you can learn better.
That's true.
Doctrines like original sin, fallen world, and the human body being filled. And when you've got people
that's important.
We make fun of. But he has completely mastered several particular elements of Christian theology.
Mm-hmm.
And one is that you, me, and the little baby all deserve to burn in hell for eternity. Every one of us.
It's so good. It always makes me laugh. Every time you do your comfort, it makes me laugh.
That's exactly what the doctrine is. It only sounds silly because he does it in that stupid accent.
That sweet Kiwi accent.
But
yeah,
he's right. The teaching of the church is that by sheer virtue of being born, you deserve to be set on fire after you die because great ancestors fucked up.
Yep.
It's toxic, it's damaging, and it will fuck up your shit for decades, assuming you manage to get out of it to begin with.
It will, and it's also tied into purity culture.
It is, very much so.
And it's tied in to just every aspect of life. I mean, I once heard a Christian person describe, this is so gross, you guys. I hate even repeating it. Anyway, heard an evangelical Christian person describe or suggest that it was somehow a shame on a woman's husband because she had been molested as a child, and that somehow brought shame onto her husband. What the actual fuck, y'all?
Oh, he bought a used car.
I mean, it's just so horrible. And actually, to the credit of the very evangelical Christian husband, he was pissed.
Good.
He was like, okay, A, your information is off, but B, even if that were true, how would that shame me in any way? That would just show how strong my fucking wife is. I don't think he said fucking, but it was like that. I mean, he went off, and I was proud. I was like, thank you for not falling for that piece of bullshit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the fact that that person had the guts and the gall, and this was not someone that this person, no, this wasn't like some fire and brimstone preacher or some shit. This was like a close person to that family. The fact that they had the balls to say that means that on the temerity means that on some level they believe it.
Yeah.
They thought it needed saying.
Jeff points out something that really ties right into that. He says, I think there's an argument to be had that by its very nature, Christianity can't stay at home and keep to itself.
Yeah, because
and I think that's a valid point. The Great Commission.
The Great Commission, yeah,
is intrinsic to, well, the survival of Christianity. Go ye, therefore, into all the world, baptizing them and making disciples in my name, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. And I haven't heard that read out loud in 25 years, and I can still blah, 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 blah.
And that's the difference right there between someone who was raised hardcore Protestant and somebody who was raised hardcore Catholic, because I had to remember, like, oh yeah, there's that thing. There's that one verse somewhere in the New Testament. And that's what it was in my head. It was that verse somewhere, go forth and preach to all the nations.
For y'all, it's dogma. For us, it's the book.
Yeah. And
who made you?
God made me.
Why did God make you?
Because he's an asshole. Because to love and serve him, I think is the answer. Is the
something like
catechism.
That. Yeah.
Answer. Ugh. Gross. My parents made me. They had sex once when my mom happened to be ovulating, because I'm living proof that the rhythm method don't work, baby. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy to be here. But beyond that, fuck. The fact that I could still rattle that shit off pisses me off. There's some, to this day, I'm 42 years old. I read the Bible when I was 17 because I was having issues with the Catholic Church. I was, I was like, I don't understand why premarital sex is bad. Assuming you're not harming anyone and it's all consensual, and yay, I didn't want to be bad at sex on my wedding night. I had no need to be a virgin on my wedding night, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to know what I was fucking doing. So if you want to get, so I didn't understand that. I was like, I can see why when like primogeniture was a thing and we didn't have, the tests that they can do to where they can say, absolutely, this is the father of your child. I get why it was a social construction for a long time. You can a woman absolutely knows if she's given birth to a child or not. Men, you can't always know, which must be terrifying for dudes, honestly. For people with male sex organs, it must be absolutely terrifying, because if you have sex with someone with female sex organs, you don't know. You might have a kid out there somewhere, and that has to be scary. So anyway, that's like my worst nightmare. So I'm grateful I have the I was born with. Where was I going? Why was I talking about that? Oh, I had issues with that. I had issues with the church being against birth control. They said that was a sin. I was pro-choice. That's not okay. Really not okay if you're Catholic. And so I was like, okay, but this is dogma. This is Christianity. This is Catholic dogma. I'll read the Bible cover to cover and figure out what I actually believe and what I don't. And by the end of it, I was no longer a Christian. I wasn't a Catholic. I wasn't a Christian. I was like, fuck that noise. And then I started looking into wooey new agey shit because it was the 90s. And spent the next 20 years trying to be a polytheist neo-pagan, but I was not good at it, like Ocean is. I was and one which I was not at it. All right, what do we got?
That says, who doesn't have issues with the Catholic Church?
I know. It's such a thing.
Oh, we've got a ghostly comment caused by weird tech stuff.
Damn it. Sorry about the glitching, guys.
Up on the screen.
Damn it. And it's going to get a real game. So yeah, Christianity. Where I was Christless about Jesus, like we were about Jesus or something. Like, that's the only way I can conceive of someone not having heard the good news. I don't get it. It makes no sense. This whole, they act like we've never heard this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? And I've even had I've had Mormons, of course. And I've also had JWs, and I've had Catholics. I've had fucking Catholics come to our door and knock on the door. And as far as the church is concerned, since I can't seem to get myself excommunicated by running a teeny atheist YouTube channel that they don't notice, I guess, I still got to figure out if that's even possible. But, you know, according to the Catholic Church, I was confirmed. So I'm Catholic till I'm dead. I have no choice in the matter now. I made one stupid decision when I was 14, and now I'm stuck with it forever. Thanks. But I had Catholic missionaries come to the house, and I lied and said we were Jewish and thanked them for their time and shut the door. I just did not. I had no time for that day. I never have time. But and then the other one was this lovely couple came to the house, and they were talking about Pope John Paul II and how all of this forgiveness that he was doing. And this was I was in college years and years ago, and the man was doing a spiel like he was selling me a car. It was so fast. It was so fast. It was so fast. And then he stopped and he said, "You may be asking why all this forgiveness now?" And he had to take a breath at that point. And that's when I interjected. I'm a Catholic. Also, I was asleep when you knocked. These are my pajamas, so I feel a little vulnerable. And I need to get ready for work. So thank you very much for stopping by. But your job is done. I'm good. See you later. And I shut the door. and that was a complete lie because I wasn't Catholic at that point anymore. But it's like I hear about I actually, now that I'm an atheist, is the only time I've ever thought about doing this. I almost do, like I've heard about atheists inviting people in and being like, yeah, let's talk about it. This is gonna be awesome. And they enjoy it. And
it's not worth my time.
I don't know. I haven't since I was a complete non-believer, no one's knocked. So
they can smell it in the air. The stench of disbelief.
Or they see the mezuzah that a dear friend gave us that was actually gotten in Jerusalem and that's nailed up by our door. And maybe they just go, oh, never mind. They're people of the book. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. God Scummer says the JWs don't knock my door anymore after I showed them my Satanic Temple membership card.
Oh, I'm so tempted.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's the
Take
that's
me
the best.
off your list.
Yeah, that is the best. Thank you. I do know one woman, and she said this publicly, so I'm not telling any tales out of school here. But she said it on Godless Bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Jen on Godless Bitch. Jen or Jenna? Oh, fuck me running. Jen, not Jenna Bulk, but Jen. Okay, got it. I didn't want to say the wrong person. But she said this on the show. So on the ACA show, Godless Bitches, she told the story of how she went to her bishop because she had to go back to New York. She doesn't live anywhere near New York anymore, but she was born and raised in New York. She had to go back to New York and go to her bishop in the diocese where she was baptized and had her first communion and was confirmed, and show him the medical paperwork from when she had an abortion in order to get excommunicated.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that would work. That would work because it's automatic. That's one of the few things. It's automatic excommunication for abortion. But I've never had to have one. And I was like, I'm actually bummed. Guys, this is how religion fucks with you. This is one of many ways. I was actually bummed that I never had to pay for or go through an abortion, especially in the South where they've got this mandatory counseling before and after, and there's all this bullshit tied into an already painful and weird, awkward thing, and ugh. But damn it. So I gotta, I don't know, figure something else out. Okay.
So to wrap it all back around,
yeah,
these last several stories, these are all examples of what what I think it was Randolph was saying, that by its nature, Christianity does not want to stay in its own house and play with its own toys.
No, it does not.
It comes knocking around your door and gives you toys and insists that you play with them. Otherwise, their father is going to be very upset with you and kill you forever after you die with fire.
With fire.
It's bad.
It's bad. I still find Chick tracks because of where we live. And
they
whenever,
still make those.
whenever I find them, I bring them home so that no one else is subjected to them, and then we have a nice laugh.
We have a nice glass of wine and a nice laugh all about them.
That's fun. Yeah, we enjoy the chick tracks. They're fun. However, I did see one of those fake $100 bills once. Oh, fuck you so much in your face. If you've ever, not you guys in the chat, obviously, but if you have ever done that to a server or somebody or valet, anyone in the service industry, you slip them something that looks like $100 bill and it's got a Bible verse and some shit about how Jesus will save them. And this is not actual currency on it. Fuck your face. That, sorry. I work in the service industry.
I was going to say, somebody's been in the service industry at some point.
Yes. So, and I worked in the service industry while I was a teacher to make ends meet too. So it's like I was working all the fucking time, and those tips, the tips sometimes meant the difference between food money or not. So don't do that ever.
Mr. Shadow Kitty says he's willing to talk to the JWs. Says, I tell them politely and candidly that I am a humanist. They often ask what that entails. Then I get to do the talking, and it always ends with mutual respect.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
I can see that.
Actually, I have a question for Mr. Shadow Kitty and any other humanists in the chat, and anybody who wants
Take care, Randolph. We'll see you
Bye,
around.
Randolph. Love you. And anybody who wants to comment, later in the future or whatever. I was a little annoyed and dismayed when humanism was ruled in the U.S. to be a religion now. I was like, but it's not. It's a philosophy. It's not a religion. We don't worship. Humanists don't worship anything. It's not a religion. But I mean, there are advantages and disadvantages, like in theory, if I start saying on public census, that I'm a humanist instead of an atheist, then in the same. I don't think there was right in option. I just had to there were, and then there was a or
so we ended up doing
none
it online, but
and I that's what I remember. But honestly, that was like, oh crap, we have to do the census. I forgot. And then it was short. It was so much shorter than I remembered earlier censuses being.
We still got the paper copy around somewhere. That might be interesting to do a short episode on. Just depending on what the options are.
Does anybody in the chat know? Do y'all know if the religion question made it onto the census? I know the citizenship question got voted down. Thank goodness, because that's some. Sorry, I'm descended from a direct descendant of an illegal immigrant. I would not exist. So fuck you. Like, if you can get here and you're fleeing war-torn or famine or whatever, if you can get here, come on in. I don't give a fuck. Like, get in here. It'll be, that's how I think it should be. I was like, I mean, sorry, I feel very strongly about that because I legit would not exist.
Strong opinions here.
We do.
For those of y'all who hadn't already picked up on it, glommed onto that.
Yeah, and my father wouldn't exist, and his father wouldn't exist. It goes straight. I mean, it's direct. That's what I mean. This isn't a what if I might not exist. It's no. This is an absolute. I would not exist.
Yep.
So fuck y'all.
All right.
Not you guys. I love you guys. I need to be careful with who I'm saying fuck off to. I need to make sure I'm clear about that.
Well, we've been going 54 minutes.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes, the passion has carried us through time.
That was fast. Okay, I will say.
Do we have final thoughts?
Well, you won me over to wanting to see Christianity die in my lifetime. I would love that. And seriously, I would be like, yeah, keep the art, keep the churches, turn those buildings and museums. That'd be cool. And then, but let's move on. Let's just move the fuck on as a society. I am not optimistic that will happen.
Oh, neither
but
am I.
but I would love to see it happen. I absolutely would. So there's that. um, what are your final thoughts?
Mm, well, honestly, I think I kind of got them all out while I was ranting.
Okay, it was a
Um,
good rant.
Chris, I stand against Christianity, and I agree with what one of y'all said up in the chat about the nature of Christianity.
Jeff, yeah,
It's not likely to stay in its own home and play with its toys. It's a very aggressive sharer of its toys,
yep.
and I want to be left alone.
Even to the point.
Oh, thank you, Angie.
Angie says loving the new haircut at Junk Shop. That's so sweet. Okay. Godless Scummer Jeff says in the 2001 UK census, more people answered Jedi than Jewish under religion. That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Work the system, y'all.
Oh, sure.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. As long as they don't really believe they're. I don't think they do. They don't really believe they're Jedi, right?
Oh, who cares?
All right. It's pretty harmless. Mostly harmless. Okay.
What is it they
see.
believe that could be turned to a bad end? Christians worship and ritually cannibalize a 2,000-year-old carpenter zombie
That's fair.
and tell their children that they're worthy of being set on fire forever after they die if they steal little Jenny's toy truck.
Yikes. Okay, you're right. That's worse than the Force being.
The Jedi don't bother me.
Yeah.
I'm not real stressed about radical elements of the Jedi religion.
Yeah. That's fine because they can't actually perform any Jedi powers, and if any of them
If they
actually,
could, I
if they
might be
could,
worried.
if they could, I'd be worried because
But
Sith. But yeah, but no, it's fine. Oh, we could nerd out on that for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thing in the chat that we need to mention or say?
Randolph said when the Mormons knock on his door, he starts doing yard work. And then they help him so that they can chat with him.
That's so sweet.
That's amazing.
That is one. I feel so bad for Mormon kids. They have a rough time. I really do. Yeah, I'm sad for Mormon kids. Missions are rough. They're really hard, and it's such a culty situation. Like it's way more culty than even the general like 3 hours of church every Sunday, which I think is down to 2 now, but I might be wrong with that.
Not to mention, how fucking stupid is it to give someone the title of elder who can't even grow a mustache?
Yeah, you're 18 and suddenly you're elder and your last name. And the entire 2 years you're on your mission, no one calls you anything else.
Oh, Amiga Nuts has the paper form. Doesn't see anything about religion. That's weird, isn't it?
That is weird.
It seems to me that all the previous sensei had censuses.
I remembered a none or an other option, and that's probably from previous censuses that I've taken. Yeah. And in other, I would always write in like neo-pagan or Wiccan. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. So, yeah, that's fucking weird. All right, thank you for letting us know.
Thanks for checking.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for doing our homework for us because we were bad kids and did that up. Okay. All right. Any questions or anything from you guys before we call it a night? Now that our internet is only slightly laggy.
Yeah. Jeff points out that the Jedi Order was very dogmatic.
It was.
It was at that. It was at that.
And they take you in when you're so young.
But in the absence of any way to enforce any of that, I'm not too stressed about a bunch of scraggly bearded millennials with mullets running around saying they're Jedi.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. And the Force is like duct tape. It's fine. It's got a light side and a dark side and binds the universe together. Anyway, sorry, I'll show myself out. Okay.
Oh, you can go to the site and see a PDF.
Yeah, thank you.
So I wouldn't dare try to multitask on this computer. Can y'all even imagine what we'd look like if that happened?
It's so trying to die. our laptop's trying to die. And I don't mind. We're left with the most right now. I'm pal. Anybody? No, please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, seriously.
I will feel so guilty. I'll feel horrible.
Everybody's
Angie,
tightening the old belt right now.
Angie, you're not allowed.
Yeah, Angie,
you just lost your house. So don't even think about it. All right. Sorry, I just yelled at Angie.
It's all right.
I didn't mean to raise my voice that much. But yeah, if you can, that's nice. If you want to contribute to the new laptop fund, but it's okay if you can't. Don't even worry about it. And that's all I'll say about that. Because I feel gross even having said it right now.
Oh, so okay.
All right.
All right. Well, we've been going right at an hour. I think we're going to wrap it up.
Agreed.
We'll see y'all back here again at 8:30 next Thursday for another episode of the As Yet Unnamed Couple stream.
We should really come up with a title at some point.
I don't know. The more we call it that, the catchier that sounds.
Well, that's fair. The more we call it that, that's all everybody's going to be able to look for.
And anybody who's interested in the next Improv Bible study will be going live at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, and tomorrow, or I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Saturday from on the Daily Atheist channel, we've got Atheist D&D that'll be streaming after Chris's Sci-Fi Saturday show, which is awesome. If you're up on Saturday mornings and you can watch a video, that's a great show that he does. The Daily Atheist does a great show on Saturday mornings, and then he lets us use his stream to play Atheist D&D, which is super fun for us. And One Ring 42 is the DM, and he's awesome. Anyway, so there's that Saturday.
And on the afternoon of the 22nd, I will be being interviewed on David Worley's podcast.
Yes.
And I'm entirely too excited about that.
Yeah, please mark your calendars, folks. David Worley is gonna interview Junk Shop on May 22nd, so that should be awesome. And then last thing I'll say is I will try to put out a new Wine&Reason early next week. And I apologize for being too depressed this past week to get one out, but I'm much better, so no worries, everything's okay. I just didn't have it in me on Tuesday to create anything, but there will be another one next week. So you can't find truth in wine. You might find it in reason. And you
take care. Be safe. Stand against hate. We'll see y'all around.
See you next time.